Radio Football Show with Burger King. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
We sure are. Good evening. This is Paul Cooney with Mark Guidi and Darren O'Dea after last night's what seemed like a VAR special after the debacle of the weekend. Well, the teams are out. The refereeing team for the big match on Sunday, Rangers against Celtic, and the referee is going to be John Beaton. Assistants David McGeechy and Callum Spence. On VAR, Stephen McLean, and the assistant VAR, Kevin Clancy. Guys, after what's been happening in recent weeks, there'll be such attention on the referee, obviously John Beaton, but also VAR as well. And after some of the things that happened at the weekend, not just in the Rangers game or the Celtic game, you look at St Mirren, the sending off of Richard King, for example, just about every game, the Aberdeen sending off. They were making so many mistakes last weekend. There's huge pressure on the referees. Darren, what are you thinking about it as you go towards this weekend? Your old team Celtic didn't play well at the weekend, nor did Rangers. But what do you make of the decision? John Beaton's in charge.
I find it a tiny bit strange, to be honest with you. I didn't think that would be the pick. But listen, it's done now. Celtic need to get on with it. But yeah, I am surprised he's been picked.
But who would be the pick? I suppose it's hard to know who would be the choice. Mark, what do you feel about it? Willie Collum makes the decision. Are you surprised? We've got a few Celtic fans on saying they are surprised it's John Beaton, given some of the recent decisions.
Well, I would always think, Paul, get into an old firm clash that you've got a referee in form, a referee on top of his game, who commands respect, who's earned respect, and he's been consistent. John Beaton's been off form this season, Paul. He is one of the country's top whistlers, but you look at his recent performances, whether it's on-field match official or as VAR, I think John's left a lot to be desired this season. As I've said many times, I think the standards of refereeing this season overall has been far from acceptable. John Beaton's not had a Celtic Rangers game this season. Stephen McLean's had one, Nick Walsh has had one, so this will be John's first Old Firm clash, but he'll need to be on it, Paul, and he's not been on it often enough. Far too many decisions for me that have not been up to standard. And
of course, so often it's been referred to VAR now in lots of the games, Darren, and people don't understand. I mean, calls yesterday, Peter Grant was saying he wouldn't have VAR. Barry said, I wouldn't disagree with that either. Ali McCoy yesterday morning saying, bin it. But I know you've got a different point of view because you saw something different in the Championship recently with your own Swansea City. Yeah.
I've kind of, I haven't experienced VAR as a coach, but I've seen it as a fan, and I've seen the kind of the trials and tribulations everyone's gone through with it. Then going back to Swansea when there is no VAR, I just there was decisions made and they're hard to swallow when you know that they're the wrong decisions. Basically, I think the biggest problem with VAR at the minute is they're actually utilising it and still coming to the wrong decision. That's my only issue is in it. The time constraints that go over it, I think they need to get better at. I think they have got better at, but in time they might get even kind of quicker to decisions. It's when you go and you look at something on a screen multiple times and still come up with a wrong. That's my only issue with VAR. I'm not a fan. I wouldn't say that's a bit of a strong word, but it is going to stay, and it's something we need to utilise, because certainly going back to kind of human error, I don't think is the way forward.
Billy's on 08 17 17 700, and he's saying, guys, who would be the right referee for it? Because it's going to be really tough. Is there somebody who's really on form at the moment, Mark, that you would think he would be the right choice for the game on Sunday?
Paul, I mean, one thing about referees and officials, you tend to kind of highlight the mistakes. Yeah. You don't talk about when they have an excellent game, and all that kind of thing. And that's just the nature of the business. It's unfortunate for them, but that's what happens. But for me with VAR, and again I've highlighted it a lot this season and in recent weeks, in our country, in our game, I think VAR get involved far too often when they shouldn't.
Remember at the World Cup, you hardly knew it was there.
Exactly. You look at like Champions League games, European games, World Cup. So the one for me, it was one that caused a lot of debate at the time, was Hearts v Celtic at Tynecastle, when Austin Trusty is given a yellow in live play by Stephen McLean. John Beaton's on VAR, and John Beaton asked Stephen McLean to come over. Now, for me, I don't care, I'll argue the point all day, it is not a clear and obvious error from Stephen McLean to put out a yellow. Had he given a red in live play, I could accept that.
I remember you
but it
saying
has
that.
to be clear and obvious for VAR to get involved. For me, it wasn't, but John Beaton got involved.
But that phrase in itself is, it's not a definitive phrase, so it just leaves
it's not. You know, if it's VAR should only make it when it's almost like kind of factual, as in like it's a no-brainer. You know, you've made a mistake, ref. It's a no-brainer. Come over and look. Like for example, Aberdeen Motherwell at Pittodrie last weekend in the cup. John Beaton in live play misses Geiger, the Aberdeen players. High challenge, assault on the Motherwell player live. VAR gets called in. Now, that's right. Next time, Liam Gordon, the Motherwell player, gets sent off. John gives him a yellow card originally. So right, VAR call him over, and rather than sticking to his guns, you know. So again, as well, I don't know for sure, and the referees will deny it till they're blue in the face. You get that, but when you look at the evidence presented, it's almost like they're cozy. They don't want to go against each other. Whereas when you're called over to VAR, you should be strong. Unless you've called me over, okay, but you know what, I'm sticking to my decision. There's far too much coziness. But anyway, the overall standard, Paul, and again, I'll say it again, this is not exclusive to Celtic and Rangers going for a title. This is not all about Celtic and Rangers. This is about whether you're Kilmarnock, who were hard done to at Ibrox, whether it's St Mirren, should never have had a player sent off, whether you're Livingston, who should have had a penalty kick at Ibrox earlier in the season. The referees missed it. John Beaton's in VAR. He has to apologise to David Martindale on the Monday morning. The standard of refereeing this season, nowhere near acceptable.
Who's getting the call next Monday morning? Is it going to be to Danny Rule? Danny, I'm sorry I got that wrong. Or is it to Martin O'Neill? And listen, we want it to work for the referees, but there are now so many of them on VAR, it's difficult to get the best. And too often they're looking to VAR when it's not a clear and obvious. So why are they getting involved when it's subjective? Stephen
McLean is your main VAR official on Sunday. Stephen McLean was VAR at the Premier Sports Cup League Cup semi-final in October when Rangers kicked up because Austin Trusty didn't get a red card for the challenge on Jack Butland. So Rangers kicked off about that. Nick Walsh was a match referee that day, and now you've got Stephen McLean on VAR. So look, we're kind of highlighting under the microscope the mistakes, wrong decisions, but like I say, we don't want to be talking about referees. No manager wants to be getting a phone call on Monday morning. None of the managers want to be phoning up, will they call them? But like I say, this season, it's just not been good enough.
Is it like undue pressure now on referees and the whole fraternity, given that everyone now, that every single club has gripes about VAR this season, and it's so important now. I mean, there's potentially 30 to 40 million whoever wins this title. If it's Hearts, Rangers, Celtic, Motherwell, they could be in the Champions League.
But like I say, VAR's there to help, and it should help. You know, when you're getting the chance to look at instant replays, Paul. But as Darren said at the top of the show, even with the benefit of VAR, they are still getting it wrong. It's quite incredible. And you look at the referee on Sunday, excuse me, at Livingston Rangers. I'm not talking about any major decisions. We can talk about the decision in injury time.
Mikey Moore,
with Mikey Moore. Well, should have been a red, a free kick. Certainly wasn't a penalty kick, but there's certainly an argument for it being a free kick and a straight red. I can understand that argument. I think David Dickinson's on VAR at that point. But you look at the referee, Ryan Lee, who I watched Celtic v Dundee a couple of weeks ago in the Scottish Cup tie at Celtic Park. You look at the standard. That's for me, Paul, a guy who does not understand the game of football. You look at some of the fouls he's given, some of the fouls he's not given. I'm not talking about red cards, penalties. Basic referee, that's a guy who does, for me, on the evidence of watching him, does not understand the game of football. Might know the laws of the game, but you've also got to have an understanding of the game of football. And right now, too many of our referees and officials don't have an understanding of the game.
Calls are coming in. Stevie is on the line in Craigend. Hi, Stevie. Good evening.
Evening, guys. How are we doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you. What about you? Mark's saying there, they might know the laws, but it's how to implement them, to see just that experience now. They only get experience by doing it. But what's your feeling about the officials in general after a weekend where we're waiting to hear about Austin Trusty, Celtic appealing it, of course. Rangers weren't happy. They didn't get either a penalty or a red card. What do you feel overall? And who would be a referee?
Well, it's one of the ones, Paul. Obviously, I mean, I go and watch games at the weekend with the amateur boys, and I work at Fallout, West of Scotland, and to me, refereeing has always been 80% common sense, 20% the laws of the game, and it's thing he's saying there. He's 1,000,000% right. I mean, no, you're looking at referees, and if they get any understanding of what's going on, and I think what we get told is the referee waits to the next phase. What would transition to the next phase? I mean, over the incident, and a lot of them are doing that. I mean, they're just can't happy. I mean, so dishing out cards more like Clintons. I mean, rather than referees.
That's true. There's so many defenders now must be thinking, if you tackle at all, Darren, the chances are it's going to be called to VAR and you could be up the tunnel.
Yeah, this is the whole point. It should be correcting decisions.
Yeah.
And I think the real frustration and it's nearly anger is years ago you would have heard phrases on a Monday morning of it was a genuine mistake and they weren't privy to at the time all the angles and the speed and the slowing it down that you are when you're watching the TV. Now they are privy to those things and they know the rules of the game and are still coming up with wrong decisions. And that's, I think, very, very hard to stomach. I think when it was genuine mistakes, don't get me wrong, it would kill you. But at the same point, you have to get on with it and you have to accept it. It's very hard to accept something when it's categorically in front of you and you're still getting it wrong.
And what's going wrong, Mark? There are people still in the stand from the SFA, is that right, who sit and mark the referees and the VAR. So how many people are on it? I'm not asking you that. It's a rhetorical question. So I'm just wondering if the referees, because it's as if they're losing their sure touch. There'll always be mistakes, but there's a catalogue of them now. And so the default position is, let's just go to VAR.
But, part of the problem as well, Paul, about our match referees and live play. So they get the mark, as you say, from the assessor in the stand. If they make a decision in live play and it's wrong and it gets like overturned by VAR, they lose a point. Right. They get marked down immediately, right? But if they don't make a decision, let play flow, and VAR intervenes, they don't get marked down. So that'll play in the referee's mind as well. So they're almost like saying, well, if I make a decision live and I get it wrong, I'm going to lose a mark right away. Whereas if I leave it to VAR and I don't call this, I don't lose a mark. That's wrong.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, that's wrong because that then puts in the referee's mind, well, I'm not sure, so I'm not going to call it. I'll leave it to that, and I'm not going to lose. I'm not going to lose a mark.
Stevie, you buy that one?
Again, as Mark said about the assessors, I had the assessor standing beside me, and we had an incident in the Scottish Cup game. It's one each. We're playing. Boys went down the wing, absolutely brilliant. Had it fired it right across the penalty box. Our keepers dived on it, guys. Smothered the ball. The boy came in, booted our keeper in the head, knocked the keeper out, put the ball in the back of the net, and the ref gave the goal. And I turned around and I said to the assessor, I went, are you kidding me on, mate? I mean, I've got a keeper, knocked out, Chelsea was flat out, and he gave the goal. So he did. And the referee said to me, Mark, it depends on what way you interpret the incident. I mean, it seems somebody puts you in the head, big man.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other way to interpret that. But again, I mean, obviously, that's only amateur level guys. I know these guys are at a higher level. But as you're saying there, they're still getting it wrong. And what did they do, Mark? Did they downgrade them all back down? I mean, no, and then we're left with knee referees. Or
well, I don't know, because obviously, listen, this is not a witch hunt against John Beaton. I know John, I like John, no problem at all. But we're talking about the performances of referees. What's John's marks been recently to merit getting a Rangers v v Celtic game, I'm not. Like I say, and it shouldn't be. Oh well, he's due a turn. Well, no, it's not about that.
Exactly.
It's about how you've been performing. John's also had injury problems recently. I think with his hamstrings.
He missed a game, didn't he?
The VAR, yeah. So you're looking at all that and you're thinking, okay, I just listen. It's up to Willie Collum. Willie knows exactly what he's doing.
Let's see what the managers were saying at the weekend. Stay with us. We'll be back with you in a second, Stevie. This was Danny Rule about the the penalty claim.
For me, it's a clear a foul. I think it's on the line, and then it's two decisions. If it's outside, it's a red card, and a free kick, or it's inside, then it's a pen and a yellow card. You see it. I think there's no ball. There is completely the contact at first to the men. I think these are crucial moments at the moment in this race as well.
And the referee not called to the screen?
Yeah, of course. I think at first, the first thing is when they checked over 2 or 3 minutes, there must be something. And then I was surprised that not the ref watched it back. Maybe he has an explanation. I don't have this. But finally again, we had 100 minutes to decide this game earlier.
And on Austin Trusty's red card?
I thought the red card myself. I just spoke to the referee, and the referee said initially that he was just going to talk to the two players. That's what he thought. And then VAR have asked him to intervene and claim it's violent conduct. Well, I obviously I don't know about VAR anymore anyway. But if VAR had intervened there, when you were hoping that they would maybe 2 minutes later, when Scales is held in the penalty area, as jersey's been pulled, that looks a pretty well cast iron penalty.
Darren O'Dea, what did you think on that one, on Austin Trusty?
I would have done that a million times, what he did. But the force he went with, it goes, once the VAR picks it up, it's always, you're going to get sent off. He's gone with full force, and I'm kind of hit Jamie McGrath's hand off him. But I mean, you kind of don't want to see sendings off for that. It happens all the time in the box. It's something that happens. But the reality is, once it got seen, I knew straight away. Once it
was
got
just too pronounced, wasn't it? Yeah.
In Austin Trusty, it's an idiotic move. Yeah. It's an idiot, because you know that if this gets flagged up, you're going to get sent off. So stupid move, but at the same time, you don't really want to see players get sent off.
And he's becoming a bit of a bomb scare, isn't he? 2 sendings offs in 4 games, 4 league games. Mark, overall, there, what do you think? In the Liam Scales incident, should that have been a penalty?
Yeah, I can understand why Martin O'Neill, any manager would be going to go, particularly when he feels there's an injustice just a moment before it. But I think in terms of the Scale jersey pulling, I think you do see that at every set piece, that kind of jersey pull for that length of time. Scales does go to the deck, so there's more of an outcry because he's gone to the deck. And I think, had Trusty not been sent off at that corner kick, dead ball period, I don't think Celtic would have been flagging up a penalty claim. So yeah, you can understand it, but I think probably on the balance of everything that goes on at dead ball situations inside the box, I don't think that was anything extraordinary to give a penalty kick.
Stevie, what about the game of the weekend? Or let me ask you this: your team are 3rd in the league. Is that roughly where you're going to finish now? Do you think the title is? It's not mathematically gone, far from it. But what's your gut feeling, Stevie?
Again, obviously everybody's talking about VAR and red cards and that, but let's not take it away. Hibs played really well, guys.
Sure.
The Parky and Livingston played really, really well as well.
Yep.
And that's what I just said there when I first phoned up. I mean, it's getting exciting now because teams are actually having a go. And we've got Stuttgart and then we've got, obviously, Rangers. So with the Old Firm game now having, a points meaning, then hopefully we get a better game. So we do that, at the weekend. I know the Scottish Cup game will take care of itself because there's a prize at the end of it, but the points are the prize now. Yeah. So you're hoping that both teams have a go and make it a better game. But as I say, I thought Hibs played well on Saturday, and we get beaten, that's it. You take your medicine, guys, and you move on. But I still think Celtic will win the league. So
right,
I still think that.
Right. Stevie, you do? You reckon Celtic will still win?
Yep. Again, I phoned up a few weeks ago. Experience at this time of the year, I mean, not in the season, is pivotal. And Celtic have won 13 out of 14. I think Rangers are nervous as well, Paul.
You think?
So they're not, because they've never been in this predicament before. There they are. You know what I mean? So again, Hearts. Let's see how good today. So, but to me, I just think it's the Old Firm game. It'll take care of itself, but it is only 3 points. But let's hope it's a better spectacle than what it's been there the last few months or even few seasons, guys.
Let's hope so. Stevie, thanks so much for your call. 0808 17 17 700. Mark Guidi, Darren O'Dea, me, Paul Cooney. Your call maybe next.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
Sure is. Tuesday evening. Is it Tuesday already? Dundee United playing Aberdeen tonight. Some rearranged fixtures now because, of course, they've got games in hand. And in the Championship, Dunfermline against Partick Thistle. The Jags, second top of the table. Big game for them. Neil Lennon's Dunfermline have had a tough couple of weeks. And Mark Wilson, of course, his old teammate from Celtic, up against them tonight. And Queen's Park here in Glasgow against the table toppers St Johnstone. Mark, there's something everywhere, isn't there? The Championship as well.
Yeah, I mean, Aberdeen, Dundee United, or Dundee United, Aberdeen, you say, a cracking tie. You know, both teams probably just looking for a win tonight, Paul, just to just pull them away from Kilmarnock in second bottom spot. And then in the Championship, you know, Thistles, you know, making ground on St Johnstone over the weekend. Queen's Park getting a good result at the bottom as well, and Dunfermline looking to pick up points to try and get back into that kind of playoff spot. So yeah, we always say it, but the Championship really exciting, and still teams in the top flight looking to get points just to put them towards safety.
Yeah, the top flight. 10 games to go for Hearts and for Rangers. Hearts 1-0 against Falkirk, Chesnikov scoring, and that's always good to know that somebody you brought in just a few weeks ago, Darren, is turning up and scoring a vital goal.
Yeah, well, we discussed that.
Yep.
There was a lot of scrutiny on all three clubs, what they would do in the January transfer window. I think Rangers have had good signs from the players they've brought in. As you say, thought the goal was outstanding, and his performance was excellent as well at Hearts. So Hearts seem to have done decent business. Celtic, I'm still on the fence with how their signs are looking. I mean, you look at obviously Arojo came in and has been outstanding, but that was kind of, I think that was under Wilfred Nancy, right, which it's irrelevant really. The club brought him in. Oxlade-Chamberlain's clearly a talented player. And Mvuka has not been on the bench. I don't know if there was an injury. Adamu, when they're chasing the game, didn't come on, came on but very late. Fanchara, I'm again on the fence with. He seems like he's got something, but again, it's not a criticism necessarily, because he probably needs a few games to get up and running, which we don't really have. And the last one is obviously Benjamin Arthur, who came on to make his debut and is likely going to get flung into the absolute cauldron of Ibrox at the weekend, so we'll find out about him.
Unless the Austin Trusty red card is rescinded. What do you think will happen, Darry? Do you reckon it will be rescinded?
No, it won't be.
You don't think so? No, they're not going to change that one. For Rangers, Mikey Moore, I see everyone speaking about him again at the weekend. Mark, he did really well, scored a goal, you know, the incident right at the end. But he's somebody you'd pay to watch, wouldn't you? So I see that if Tottenham go down, and it could happen, sounds unlikely, but they're struggling at the moment. If they went down, that wouldn't be good news for Rangers, because there's more chance of them staying at Ibrox for another season if they stay in the top flight in England.
Yeah, I mean, I think whether, you know, Spurs, I think they've retained their Premier League status. I know they're in a bit of difficulty just now, but I think they'll be fine. But I still think Spurs would really look closely at bringing them back. You know, the sold Brennan Johnson during the window. There was the financial constraints. So I think when you look at the improvement in Mikey Moore from the boy, they really did look a boy when he arrived. Russell Martin brought him in last July, August. I think he was just 17, about to turn 18. And you look at him now, I mean, he's made a major contribution. You can see him just developing and growing, getting more confident, really looking the part, you know, taking games with the scruff of the neck and helping Rangers to victory. So he really has matured and developed, which is great for Rangers just now, obviously, as they're going for a title, and they've also got a Scottish Cup tie against Celtic a week on Sunday, so there's a chance for Rangers to do a double. But I think if Spurs do stay up, I still think I would expect Mikey Moore to beat Spurs next season.
They'll take him down there,
I think so. Yeah, I think he's
okay.
shown enough to be involved in their first team squad next season.
Darren, what's the word? You're just back from a few days in London. Talk about that in a minute. What do you think will happen next season?
Yeah, I'd agree with everything Mark's saying, but the other bit is they might try to, and this is no disrespect to Rangers, but upgrade the loan. So even if he was allowed to go back out on loan, it might be to a Premier League club, because they do that down south, and that would obviously give him a chance to play in the league that they eventually want to develop him in. But I agree with Mark that he might have actually done enough in his Rangers term to actually warrant a place in the squad there.
Jack's on, a Rangers fan, 0808 17 17 700, saying, I'm really disappointed on Sunday. 2-0 down against Livy, who hadn't won a game since August. Isn't good enough. Rangers away from home will be a worry for them. So here's what the manager said about the 2-2 draw, which, I mean, it didn't seem like a victory at the end, but obviously it was another, maybe a vital point.
Yeah, finally, I think we're disappointed. We dropped 2 points, unnecessary. I think it was exactly what we knew before the game. They will have 2 or 3 moments. They look for set plays, and in these 2 or 3 moments, we missed the clarity. I think from the first minute on we were good in the game. Yeah, we had a big chance after our set play for the 1-0. But if you're then 2-0 down, it's tough. It's a tough place. But finally, we tried everything. I think it shows a big character from the group. Big praise, really praise from the supporters today. Outstanding. I think over 100 minutes they support us, and every minute it was great. Yeah, finally you scored then the 2-2, and then we can speak maybe about one crucial moment in the game. But I will look not for this excuse. We have 100 minutes to decide this earlier.
Paul, a Rangers fan, is on the line. Hi, Paul. Good evening.
Hi, Paul. Hi, guys. Thanks for
Paul.
having me on the show tonight.
So what do you think about that? First of all, how surprised were you? That I don't think anyone really thought Livy would take a point.
No, I didn't, Paul. I thought, although we've had a couple of bad away results, I think Danny Rowe's done a good job, particularly in defence, tightening us up. You can always say, look, this time of the year, Livingston are fighting for their lives, aren't they?
Rangers are fighting for a title.
But look what Wolves did to Arsenal. I know it's maybe comparing oranges with apples, but Wolves beat Arsenal, didn't they? Do you know what I mean? So, or drew them, or whatever it was.
But they've been off all week, Paul. Listen, I know we'll maybe ask the guys who've played professionally, obviously at a really high level, but do you know what I mean? They've had the week off. A couple of days off, then time to train. No midweek distraction. Livy, no disrespect to them, but that's one that you thought that would be 3 points. It's not.
Aye, but look, if you want to win titles, Paul, we need to win games like that. I mean, now we've put ourselves in a bit of a predicament because I think it was one of your other callers had mentioned. I heard them talking about it when we were on our shows. This is now. If this is a draw for Celtic and Rangers at Ibrox, and Hearts win on Saturday, they're the winners out there. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
So. It's exciting for the neutral and everything else. It'll be exciting for the writers, the papers, and the media and all that stuff. But we need to get this over the line, and it's not a gimme because I said in a show when the time Martin O'Neill first came back, he's an experienced guy. He's a legend for Celtic, so he'll get in there with status. So it's going to take everything and anything to win this game. But and this is what leads on to my point, Paul. Sure. I came on your show, maybe you remember last week, I think it was, when Barry and that was on. And you'll remember me saying, I'm worried about John Suter. And Barry was like, oh no, I still have him on my team and whatnot. Well, who cost us the goals? That's my question. What does Mark and that think? Was John Suter a part to play in that? Because I think he was. And so do a lot of my Rangers mates that I watch the games with. They're exactly the
Mark,
same.
what did you think?
I mean, you go back to Ibrox last week, as Paul, we highlighted in the show, as everybody had, the way John Suter defended Braga's header. Should be stronger as a centre half. He should be more dominant. He's conceded a free kick on Sunday that he didn't need to concede. I think he just stand up, mark your ground. The guys out wide. That's it. You should still be defending the free kick better than the second ball. Although it was a lovely wee dink, back in along the deck. So yeah, I can understand. Again, it's just like everything now at this stage of the season, Paul, because as we all know, there's a title on the line. Everything's under the microscope, whether it's referees, whether it's VAR, whether it's individual players. And as Paul says there as well, with Celtic and Rangers playing each other at Ibrox on Sunday, for Hearts, probably the draw is a perfect result, but there's no bad result for Hearts this weekend. You might think, Celtic lose ground, or Rangers lose ground, or they both lose ground, providing Hearts can win on the Saturday afternoon at home to Aberdeen, which you would expect them to do. But you just never know at this stage, because you look at it, say, Livingston bottom of the league, Rangers go there and they have to fight to get a 2-2 draw. They've drawn at Motherwell recently. Motherwell down to 10 men for half an hour. They've drawn at Easter Road recently. Celtic had a couple of away wins, but tight. 1-0 at Falkirk. 96-minute goal against Kilmarnock, second bottom of the table a couple of weeks ago. So I know it sounds like an old cliche, but it's so true that there are no easy games, because everybody's fighting for something. And I think you look at Celtic and Rangers, they're average at best, probably. So they're not at the standard that they once were for various reasons. Therefore, that makes it so. Look, it's all to play for. It is exciting, and come Sunday, it's going to be an absolute cracker.
What would you say to Paul, huge Rangers fan? I mean,
on the Souter, listen, he Paul know a lot more than me, and I've watched a lot more of him than me. But I think when you're in this part of the season, certainly I wouldn't, if you were supporting Rangers, I wouldn't want to be taking out your more experienced players. And he's obviously an international player. He's been there. He maybe isn't in the best of form. I'm going off kind of Paul's words on that.
Just get his new contract.
But yeah, I if from a Celtic point of view, if you seen John Souter not on the pitch come Sunday, you would be pleased. That's why I would look at it. So,
and what about the title itself? That's a great point. Listen, Hearts, I thought yesterday, Mark, do you know what, for Hearts, we're Glasgow's own station here. So obviously, come on, Celtic, Rangers, Motherwell in there. But Derek McInnes from the West, and the way he's leading the team just now, do you know what? They are better at the moment than Rangers and Celtic. What's my point? Any chance of Motherwell? Mark, because you did say 82 points could win it.
Yeah, and there's Celtic and Rangers drop points at the weekend. It might be less, might be 81. So far, Hearts can get 90. Could Hearts drop 8 or 9 points in the run-in? Yeah, they could in various games. And Motherwell, I think it's highly unlikely, but you don't know. They were 100-1 before the weekend. They're now into 33-1 because Celtic and Rangers dropped points, and they won 5-0. Very, very convincing. Playing as if there's no pressure on them at all. The best defensive record in the league by a distance. I think one of the best in Europe. Only conceded 18 goals in 27 games, which genuinely is absolutely remarkable. They'll maybe get the manager of the year in the dugout, even if he doesn't win the title. Potentially the manager of the year. So yeah, there's plenty going for Motherwell. But come Sunday, Paul, with it being a home game for Rangers, and Paul the caller will remember this as well. 2 years ago, Paul, Rangers were at home to Celtic, Philippe Clement against Brendan Rodgers. And if had Rangers won, they really would have put themselves in the driving seat to go and win the title. It was 3-3 and Clement came away with that ridiculous quote, a moral victory. Well, I think the onus, Paul, with it being at home, considering you've got to go to Parkhead after the split, the onus is on Rangers to go and win this game, to go and show that they can do it. Now, interesting stat, whatever way you want to word it, Celtic haven't beaten Rangers in the league since September 24, 18 months, 6 games ago, the last time Celtic beat Rangers in the league. So Rangers are unbeaten in the last 5, which included Barry's 2 games last season. But my point beyond that would be Rangers haven't won a game that absolutely mattered, as in this will take us to the title. I'm not saying they were dead rubbers. An Old Firm game's never a dead rubber. But this is a game where if Rangers win, it really, really matters in terms of achieving something. So the onus is on Rangers, and let's see how they can handle it. They had to do it against Hearts to come back twice and go and win the game. So the evidence is there, they can do it. And for Celtic, it's like not beating Rangers in 6 league games. That's incredible, too, considering the way Celtic have been over the last few years. So different things riding on it on Sunday.
I would tee that up for the Sky promo for the match, I'll tell you. Paul, that's a great point, isn't it? So has your team got it to win this, the game that really, really matters?
Well, this is it. I think, Paul, I've always said that's a test for any manager. is to win these deciding games. Now, Danny Rowe went to Tynecastle and didn't pass that acid test when Hearts beat us. You could argue, yeah, we did it against Hearts at Ibrox when it mattered and stuff like that, but this is, Mark makes a great point, this is it. But if we want to win this title, we need to show up and win this game, because there's no debate about it, Paul. We have had a good January transfer window.
Sure.
We've spent the money. The board have backed Danny Rowe. I think Danny Rowe's tightened the team up, massively since the debacle with Thelwell and Stewart and Martin left us. But you can win all the games, but it's coming up to these crucial games. This takes me back to games like Walter Smith's second time coming back when we went to Parkhead and Ugo Ekhog scored a goal and backs to the wall. Then you could even argue, but no, you guys will remember it and Dan will remember this one. I hated it, right? But the one where Wim Jansen was the manager and you won 2-0 and Lambert stuck that one in the postage stamp. That was the turning point for that season. You knew Celtic were going to go on and win the league. So this could be the time when we turn the screw, we put Celtic out, we make a statement and win, and we go on and do it. We'll have the crowd there.
And you need the character, Paul. Here's Fernandes spoke after the game and after his terrific goal on Sunday, but he spoke about needing character in the run-in.
100%. Look, there's 30 points to play for, and I feel like we've shown character to come back in many games this season, and we showed character to come back to this stage where we are in the season. And look, we've got to fight and fight and fight and keep hunting.
Is there much between the teams at the top, Darren, do you think? Technically, whatever that means, really? In other words, character.
No. The level of performance from Celtic for a long time has not been at a high level, but they've managed to kind of get over the line in terms of results. Rangers have had good performances. They've obviously scored a few goals recently against Kilmarnock, Queen's Park. I know, but it was in the cup. It's still 8 goals. They scored 4 against Hearts. Yep. Hearts seem to be the team, just that there's just a bit of more stability. They've been there all year. Obviously, they haven't had the change over a manager and different things going on in the background. They just seem to be the most stable. But I mean, it's so hard. It's so hard, because we're talking about the Celtic Rangers game at the weekend and the ramifications of the winner and the loser. The reality is Hearts are still going to be top of the league no matter what happens. So it's unprecedented. We don't know what it's like to have a league where you're not just concentrating about one or the other. I grew up at Celtic where you were told there was 4 games a season you got judged on, and they were the ones against Rangers. That's not the case this year, because Hearts are clearly a massive part of it, and you can add Motherwell into the equation for that as well. So it makes for a very exciting ending. Yeah,
because Hearts could be, if they win, Mark, as you know, 63 points. Rangers, if they lose, would stay 56. Celtic would go 57. Celtic, if they lose, stay 54. So we're going to go to a break in a moment or two. But in fact, we will take the break. Paul, thank you so much for your call. Some good stats there. Who's got the character? Thank you so much. We're back after this.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
Going to hear from, team of the weekend, you'd have to say Motherwell. The ordering off was appalling of Richard King. How could that be? I'm in danger of going back into VAR and going on about the referees. But what about that win at the weekend? It was huge for them. And Stephen O'Donnell was on the programme at the weekend with our own young Rory Barraclough, one of our new signings, who's actually working on the show this evening. He's on 2 till 6 on a Sunday. And he asked him about Stephen, Motherwell, the title, is it being mentioned at all at Fir Park?
We'll be in a title race if we end up above any of the 3 of them. My aim at the start of the season personally, and probably if you'd asked most fans, would have been to stay in the league first. And Steve Clarke used to say, whenever you get one objective, then you can start to look for more. So look, I think we've more or less, we're safe, we're more or less guaranteed top 6 now. I think it'd be I don't even know if it's mathematically possible for us not to get top 6. For me now, the next one is try and catch the team in front of us and try and get further away for the teams below us, who are obviously Hibs and Falkirk. And again, if we get to, we're at 50 now, get to 60 points quickly, then we can maybe see where that sets us, and at some point maybe we could talk about being in a title race.
Mark, well handled by Stephen O'Donnell and by our own young Rory.
Yeah, good interview there from Rory, and what Stephen says makes absolute sense. That there's no doubt that they're safe, there's no doubt they're going to be top 6, and get to 60 as quickly as possible. The maximum they can get to is 83. They've got 11 games to go. They don't concede. They score. They play with a lovely fluency. They play with a lovely freedom. Whereas you look at Hearts, Celtic and Rangers, understandably, it's like they've got the weight of the world on their shoulders sometimes when they're going out on a Saturday afternoon. Whereas Motherwell, very free, very pleasant in the eye, middle to front. So I think it's highly, highly unlikely Motherwell will be league champions. But right now they still have a chance. But I think they can finish in the top 3. I think Motherwell really can. That's well within their capabilities, Paul.
Wow.
To finish in the top 3.
I'm going to have to ask you in a moment then what your 1, 2, 3 is at the moment. Well, you said it. Darren, so they've got Dundee United at home. If you're a neutral thinking, where am I going to go on Saturday? Why wouldn't you go to Fir Park if you can get a ticket? Because they're great to watch. What do you think about Motherwell? What do you see about Jens Bertel Askew?
Yeah, well, obviously I spent the first part of the season down south and I kept hearing... Of the kind of style of play that he brought in. So I've been to a few of their games and it's absolutely been top class. It's a team that you want to go and watch. They're playing with such quality, understanding, composure, and they're probably, we're talking about Hearts, Rangers and Celtic, they're the team that look like they can win games just comfortably without being in any sort of bother. They look like they can score goals clearly, but they just don't look like they're going to concede because they've got the control over games. I think it will be a stretch too far to go and win the league, but I agree. I expect them to accumulate a fair few points still to the end of the season because they seem to just be getting better.
This would be even bigger than Leicester City winning in England, Mark, all those years ago, wouldn't it? If Motherwell were to win the league, and why wouldn't they? 11 games to go.
Paul, you look at the table just now. They're level in games played with Celtic, and they're 4 points behind. They go to Celtic Park in a couple of weeks' time. They're 4 points behind Rangers, but they've got a game in hand over Rangers. So technically, they might only be 6 points. They might only be 3 points behind Rangers. They've got a game in hand over Hearts, so they might technically only be 7 points behind Hearts with 33 points. Still for them to play. Look, I don't expect them to win the league. But what I'm saying is they don't lose games, Paul. They've lost 3 games in 27. They don't concede goals. They're conceding 3/4 of 0.75 goals per game. They're going to have a big say in it. They're still to play the top 3. They're going to have a big say in it. And as you say, they've just been ghosting along.
Yeah.
And why can't they finish in the top 3? Why can't they go and burst right in and go and separate Celtic, Rangers and Hearts at the top?
It's going to be some run in, isn't it? It's amazing. Celtic losing then. Is that the first time they've lost in the league, Mark, looking at you under Martin O'Neill?
Yes, I think that was Martin O'Neill's 12th game as manager, and in his 2 spells he's had 1 defeat and 1 draw. A real sore one for Celtic. On Sunday they obviously play again on Thursday night. Paul in Stuttgart, which is a dead game.
Is it going to change it big time?
I would imagine so. Yeah, I would imagine. That 5 or 6 players will be rested. Maybe even 2 or 3 don't travel. But the focus, and I think every Celtic supporter would agree that the focus is all about Sunday. Celtic are not going to get through. They're not going to go to Germany on Thursday night, regardless of the team they play. So your focus is you might need to take a bit of pain on Thursday night. Yeah. But your focus is on Sunday.
Because it was painful anyway for them at Celtic,
Yeah.
He was asked about the title race at the end, his first defeat.
No, we're not out of it at all. I knew there's going to be twists and turns in this year. Disappointing to drop all 3 points today, but we're still in there fighting.
And what did he make of the match overall?
It was naturally a disappointing result, but in terms of performance, I thought we played some fantastic football in the first half. We probably should have been in front, but we rely on a goal a couple of minutes before half time to equalise. And again, we had we had more than the lion's share of possession, and we just couldn't turn it into another goal.
Is that the switch going to be flicked? It's hard to see. It's just not the Celtic that they were earlier in the season. But can that change, do you think?
The longer it goes on, I'm starting to think no. But look, I've maintained all along, particularly before the window, was if they could add 2, 3, 4 pieces of quality in, that they would just find a rhythm back again. and their level of performance would rise, while Martin was pulling up trees in terms of actually getting them over the line and winning games. But I just don't see. I have to admit that the performance on against Hibs was okay. It wasn't. They've performed a lot worse and won games recently. But it's still not. It's Celtic at Celtic Park. The goalkeeper of Hibs wasn't under massive strain. Mind you, Hibs did brilliantly in the game, not taking anything away from them. They didn't have loads of chances either. They were very clinical with what they did. It just doesn't have a feel of Celtic can just flex their muscles and kind of get into a rhythm. I think they're going to have to scrap their whole way to the league title here. I don't think they'll do it with any kind of style. And at the minute, that doesn't matter how you do it. They just need to find a way.
And Mark, the noise in the background's not been helping them, has it? There's still the Green Brigade are not in there. There seems to be no solution yet. Talks have been going on, but
but I don't know. Martin O'Neill, I don't see any benefit now for him getting involved publicly in that. It's not in his remit to go and cure all the ills of the club. It's not his job is to go and win games of football. He cannot control. He cannot be a peacemaker. He's a football manager, and he's an excellent football manager. And to get the best out of Martin O'Neill, just let him focus on winning games of football. And the thing is, for all the kind of negativity around Celtic and the kind of question marks hanging over them, which is totally justified and understandable, the title's still in their hands, Paul. They don't need any favours. They win all their games, they win the league. Rangers need a favour. Rangers win all their games, they still need a favour. Hearts are obviously in the driving seat. Top of the table, can get to 90 points. But, Celtic are still in a good place. But I agree with Dan that they're lacking fluency. It's not free-flowing. It's not overly entertaining. It is just about scrapping. It's just about scrapping. And that will start on Sunday. For Hearts, a draw would be, I think, a great result. I think Hearts would really, a draw. If they had to choose a winner, they'd probably go for Rangers to win the game. But I think a draw for Celtic would be a good result on Sunday at Ibrox.
I haven't forgotten about your 1, 2, 3.
I stand first.
I'm going to ask you after the news, which is coming. Remember, you can call 0808 17 17 700.
Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
We sure are, because despite all the ills, you can't beat it, can you, Scottish football? And what a championship race there is for the Premiership title 2025-26. Who is going to win it? Well, tonight they're not going to win it, but Dundee United and Aberdeen will be in action at 7:45. We'll bring you team news in a wee while, some of the highlights there. And then in the Championship, Dunfermline against Partick Thistle, Queen's Park against St Johnstone. Then we'll look forward to the weekend. A bit more from the managers as well. We heard from Stephen O'Donnell in the first half. But a few of you have been on saying, Mark, Darren, what do you think at the moment? This is the first season I've ever thought, I don't mind if you change your mind, as the games count down. The window's closed now. Darren, what do you feel at the moment? I think I'm right in saying, well, you weren't here last week because you were down at Brentford. I want to ask you about that in a moment too. Yeah. But you felt Celtic's experience, or what do you feel now? Who's going to win the title?
I don't think any of the teams are really putting up a case to change my mind, but Celtic aren't kind of making me more confident either. I feel guilty saying this about Hearts because I don't want to disrespect anything that they've done and Derek McInnes' job, because he's clearly done an outstanding job. But the reality is, for them to win the league, it's unprecedented. So I just think I won't believe it till I see it.
Okay.
Even though it's staring at us right now, they're top of the league. It's an absolute certainty that they can win the league. I've never seen it, so
sure.
I just have something in my head that I won't believe it till I see it. And then I look at the other two, and I just don't see either team. I think this Sunday will tell us a lot, not just in terms of the points and the swing, but the feeling that will be carried forward from the winner. If it's a draw, obviously neither get that feeling. But I think the team that wins this weekend out of Rangers and Celtic might just give them the spark.
Charlie Mulgrew, who'll be here on Thursday night, must be sweating, Mark, because he's going to go and buy have a drink in Gorgie Road if Hearts win the title. And they're only, 10 games away from it if they keep winning. What do you think?
Well, if Charlie buys it right, that'll be the first time he's breaking into his Blackburn Rovers signing on fee from about 10 years ago. Well, I said Hearts had a really tough 5-game run a few weeks ago. You know, Edinburgh Derby, Celtic, Rangers, St Mirren. They had a couple of bumps, obviously losing at St Mirren, losing at Ibrox, a draw against Celtic, and yet they're still clear at the top of the table. And they've still got Lon Shanklin to come back, maybe.
Back soon.
He might come back ahead of the international break, but he'll certainly be back after the international break, if not before it, which would be a huge boost getting into the last 7-8 league games for the season.
They've a favourable run into the split as well in terms of fixtures.
So at the moment, Paul, I think to say, you know, Hearts haven't been moved off the top of the table. They won again at the weekend, clean sheet, 1-1-0. Why would it not be Hearts? And I get Dan's point, but right now, and bearing in mind, either Celtic or Rangers, or perhaps both, could lose ground this weekend, then I've got to say Hearts at the moment.
And you'd then have 2 weeks running where Rangers and Celtic slipping up. If it was a draw, it's one that doesn't affect. And you said it would be a better result for Celtic, clearly away from home. But for Hearts, the boost that would give them, Mark, if they think, wow, the so-called big two who've been over the course, they're stuttering.
Yeah, and Derek McKinnon's message, as he said, after the defeat at Ibrox, okay, that's fine, we've lost, nothing to do with it now. But our next 2 games, with the greatest respect to Falkirk and Aberdeen, both home games, we should be getting 6 points out of that. So that's first job's done. Second job, you really would fancy Hearts to beat. I think, to be honest, if you're any team in the league just now, you probably want to play Aberdeen.
Yeah,
you probably would. So I would fancy Hearts very, very strongly. And then that takes them to 9 games to go. Paul, they're on 63 points. They'd be well in the driving seat.
So who's dropping out? Hearts first at the moment, you think? Motherwell third, which you said 15 minutes ago, 15 minutes and 12 seconds.
I said I wouldn't be surprised if they penetrated the top 3 and got into it, and perhaps, like Dan, I think momentum would be a big thing. If there is a loser on Sunday, that could be the one that maybe goes into free fall.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you think Celtic have to go to Stuttgart on Thursday, and I know this is a bit, you can kind of manipulate stats, but if we go off the assumption they don't win in Stuttgart and then lose Ibrox, that'd be 4 losses in a row.
Yeah.
And then for the 4th one to be at Ibrox, for all the points changes we're talking about, if Hearts go and win their game, obviously Rangers will have picked up points. I think the team that wins, it could have huge ramifications.
Okay, Hugh's on the line. Hugh, we're just coming to you, big Motherwell fan. Trusty, the decision is in, and guess what? Claim dismissed, as expected. The original sanction of a red card for the sending off offence, A2, violent conduct, is reimposed with immediate effect. Wow, it's a 3-match ban. All league games.
So he's available for the Scottish Cup tie.
Yes.
But he misses Ibrox, he misses Pittodrie, and he misses Motherwell at Celtic Park. So it's a big blow for Celtic. I didn't expect them. You normally find, Paul, you think, unless it's an absolute howler, and you very rarely get howlers because we do have the benefit of VAR. But so Austin Trustees banned stand. So Celtic just need to go and crack on with it. Whatever they decide to do on Thursday night, then get into the game on Sunday. Will it be young Benjamin Arthur that's thrown in at the deep end?
What did they say about him down at Brentford, where he came from?
Yeah, and he's thought of very highly. You can clearly see his physical presence. He's a big piece of boy, and he's quick. He's a modern day centre back, if you want to call it that. He's maybe not as smooth in the ball as others, but he's got a big reputation down there. He's not, but the reality is, for any player coming in and your first start is away at Ibrox, that was a lot.
Yeah.
Then when you put in context, this kid's, I think he's played 2 League Cup games for Brentford, so he's no experience to go on. It's a lot.
And what's it like? Can you remember your first game at Ibrox?
Yeah, it's surreal. It's surreal. It's a completely different it's a completely the whole experience of the lead up to it is different. So you're hearing about it for the full kind of time. So Celtic will come off the plane the minute that game's done on Thursday. Friday, Saturday, you just be covered with that. Everyone will be speaking about it. And then once you lead into the games, even when you arrive there and you're going in the front doors and you're getting pelters, you feel it. You're on enemy turf. And he won't have experienced that at any kind of level or shape or form before.
And you played for Celtic in Old Firm games when you had 7,500 Celtic fans in the stadium.
Correct, yeah.
You've never played there, but you're going, I don't know, what Celtic got, 1,500, 2,000 fans,
2,000,
whatever it may be.
Yep.
So you're looking at 48,000 Rangers fans on Sunday as well.
Hugh's on the line. I was going to say he doesn't care so much about that, but Hugh, Motherwell fan, good evening.
Good evening, Paul, Darren and Mark. How are we doing this evening?
Yeah, great, thank you. What about you, living the dream, apart from the Scottish Cup, but league-wise, what about that win on Saturday?
Oh, phenomenal. But a disgrace of red card. Don't even want to discuss that. And I've spoken to some Motherwell fans and they say the intent was there. I says the intent to release yourself. There was no intent to strike a player. No. Don't even attempt to try and give me an argument on it. There is no argument. It's never a red card. It will get rescinded. Deal with it. So I'm a bit...
Sure.
I'm on it with some Motherwell fans to tell them, be realistic here. If that was against us, we would be going ballistic.
Yeah.
So now reverse it and think of that. I'm just on quickly because I was listening to my way home from work there.
Okay.
And just, Paul, you know I've been on all season ranting raving about Motherwell, how good we are, etc. I was on a few weeks ago.
We like it.
About Stephen Welsh situation as well. Yeah. Now, I'm coming on just because obviously the things that's been happening is, yes, we've lost 18 goals this season. Just a few of the stats of the 18 goals, 5 of them were in 2 games. So that's how good the defence have been. 3 against Hearts, 2 against Celtic and Parkhead. So that's how good the defence have been. When you think we've got Paul McGuinness, Stephen O'Donnell, realistically, as their central defenders, the stats are phenomenal how we're actually coming about with that. But I made a prediction beginning of the season. I turned around and says Muller's got the best midfield in Scotland, and I was laughed at from the very first game. Totally laughed at. Now people have got egg in their faces. I'm now going on to say, is it hypothetical that Mull do not lose a game of their 11 remaining games? Is that an outrageous statement?
No, it's absolutely not an outrageous statement. Will they do that? That's a big ask, but the way they're performing, they're a bit, well, put it in context, they're the best performing team in the league right now by a considerable distance, I would say. And to your point of their defensive record, that comes not from and it's not to take away from the back four goalkeeper, that isn't coming from a back four goalkeeper, that is coming from a team that are just absolutely controlling games and they aren't giving up opportunities. If you watch Motherwell's games, which you do all the time, I used to hear a great phrase, if you kept a clean sheet, everyone would celebrate. It's actually about how you keep a clean sheet. If teams are hitting your crossbar and your goalkeeper's constantly making big saves, Motherwell aren't doing that. They're not riding their luck in any way. They're absolutely controlling the life out of games. So to your question, is it a crazy thing to say? No, it'll be a big ask. They're the best team in the league in terms of performance wise right now.
I would say, Hugh, if Motherwell win their 11 games, Motherwell will be the league champions.
Oh yeah, I agree with you.
83 points, I think, will win you the league. And Motherwell can get to 83 points. I don't think they'll win their 11 games. But if they did, your question is, if they did, I think that makes Motherwell league champions.
Wow. Hugh?
What it was really... now, I am not for one coming on here saying we're going to win the league. I still don't think we'll win the league because I do think it's a little bit more of a push for us. But it's not mad to think that... I'm not saying we're going to win all 11 games, but to go undefeated in those 11 games, I think we can definitely achieve that. We have moved with those goals. And as Darren rightly says here, it's not just the defence that does that. I mean, if you go and look at how we press teams, how high we press teams, how hard we want the ball back, and we constantly go. The players like Just in the middle and Saeed really complement. Like, Watt in the middle of the park, just it doesn't need to run about. It just brings the ball, moves on again. Same with Slattery as well. And that's the difference what we've got. We've even got Fadinger that come back in as well. So that's how strong a midfield we have. But if you go and look at the goals we have lost, it's been silly goals. We lost 2 silly goals to Hearts at the beginning of the season. The one that we actually passed to Negrin made a mistake with rewards. But again, that's all forgotten about. It's just how we play and how we press, and it's so refreshing to see. And as a Mullow fan, since 1981, 1982, first game against Ayr United, that's seeing how we've came. I mean, and now I'm thinking we could finish in top 2 ahead of the Old Firm, which is wow.
Well, Mark Guidi just said, he said you'll be top 3. So who have you got? That you've got Motherwell against United. You're at home to United. Then you're at Celtic. Yep, the following week.
The 14th.
That's right.
There's
after
a
the
week
cup.
After the cup. So yeah, at Parkhead on the 14th, and Hibs have proved it the weekend. If you have a go at them, and at that time, they're not going to have Trusty, which I would prefer Trusty be there because sometimes he's got a red card on him.
Well, I think 2 out of 4. So, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Mark, it's quite a run-in for Motherwell. It's possible. Look what they did to Celtic. I know it was Wilfred Nancy, but right at the end of the year there, they destroyed Celtic.
They did. They play well. They're entertaining. Their points the boat. They're not a flash in the pan. Just like Hearts are not a flash in the pan. After 27 games, you've got 50 points. You were within touch and distance of Celtic and Rangers, and the top of the table. They're not a flash in the pan. I don't know. Hugh, being honest, whatever, kind of Tommy McLean, Alec McLeish's teams got 25 to 30 years ago. But I would think that Motherwell are probably going to get a record points total in terms of they can get to 83. I think that's too big an ask. But can Motherwell get 75 points? Can they get another 25 points out of their next 11 games? Absolutely.
Is that too big an ask?
Hey.
Sorry, Hugh. Hugh, you know what I'm going to ask you next? The Hawks are circling already. I hear them saying, what about ask you, is he going to go to Celtic next year? Blackburn Rovers apparently were interested a few weeks ago. What do you feel, Hugh?
Honestly, I was speaking to somebody inside Fir Park. The guy's been there a long, long time. And apparently, if we do get into Europe, he's wanting to crack at Europe with the team.
Right.
Which will be really refreshing. Now, we may only get 1 or 2 games in Europe because you're obviously going to have your qualifiers.
Yeah.
But again, I've said it for ages. If any players move on, if the manager moves on, they'll go away with my heartfelt thanks very much for all your efforts, because I think these guys have honestly given 100% and more. So you can't ask any more of them. You guys know, and you don't, especially Dan and Mark and that, it's a short career this, so you have to maximise your earnings. And I will not have any qualms to say, go up and shake his hand and say thank you very much. Please go and have a big career, because I think he's going to have a big career, and I don't actually think going to Blackburn's really going to enhance his career. He's going to go big on Blackburn.
No, he could well be wanted at Celtic. We spoke about that earlier on. Darren,
I think he's. I think there's, because we're obviously in the goldfish bowl of Glasgow, and Celtic are obviously a huge club in Scotland, we naturally think, that would be brilliant for him. I think he's going to have a huge amount of offers, and for Celtic actually to get him, if they wanted him, it's not going to be just as simple as picking up the phone and saying, we want you to be our manager, because I think he's going to have that many offers. I think listen to you talk about players moving on, and I think that's refreshing to hear. I think that's what the model, I think Motherwell are showing clubs in Scotland what the model should be. It should be bringing players in, impact over a season, 2 seasons, move them on, get money for them obviously, and reinvest that either into the playing squad, or Motherwell don't have a training ground, for instance, invested into a training ground that these players deserve. So I think Motherwell are doing a lot of things right, and what I'd be doing now is looking at the contingencies when they do lose some of the top players and maybe a manager.
And Mark, the players are encouraged to smile, enjoy the game. Remember when they went to goal down to Rangers, and they're like, right, take it easy, all right, let's not panic.
Goal down, man down. But it's still, still controlled the flow of the game. I think the Lennon Miller money was kind of earmarked for a training ground. That's got to be the next logical step for Motherwell,
So was the David Turnbull money.
So but at some point they need to go and do it. But an interesting one. I hear about what Hugh's saying, like, if you get them into Europe, you would want to stay and see that through. But my point would be, if Motherwell keep all the players, so they don't sell Mashwanishi, they don't sell Saeed, or Just, or Watt, Fadinger, you can name 6 or 7 guys that there's going to be interest in during the summer. and then he's allowed to go and supplement and improve that, I can see him say, well, let's have a crack together. But I would imagine 2 or 3 of them would be sold. I think for a manager, as you said, it's a short career. It's all about timing.
Yeah.
He might never have a better chance to go. I think that Celtic are likely to be in the market for him, but I think might not be necessarily bigger football clubs, but I think there'll be offers from bigger leagues for him. You know, I think he's got a very active agent, and rightly so. So I'd be very surprised if he's at Motherwell next season.
Well, Hugh, we'll find out. Are you confident for the game at the weekend? I think, Darren, you're thinking of going to Fir Park. Hugh, what do you feel? Motherwell, Dundee United?
I think we've got to get in every single game, whether it's at home or away, we've got to be confident. And just as we spoke about earlier on, just in regards to our defensive record, how we attack teams, how we perform, I don't think a team has outplayed us this season. Any team. I don't think any team's overpowered us. They've been ahead of us. And just in some of the players that possibly could believe in, they'll probably make us between 12 and 15 million. I don't have any doubt about that, and that's huge for us.
Did he get it wrong in the cup game? How do you feel about last week? Final point, because, you know, it's a kind of Motherwell loving, and it should be because the way they're going. But do you think he got it wrong? Too many changes?
Well, no, because if you go and look at when we played at Fir Park earlier on the season against Hibs, he made 5 changes. He brought Priestman in for his first match, his first start against Hibs, and he was man of the match. He played him against Celtic when we absolutely annihilated them. And he was outstanding because he man-marked Hatate, then he was off. Hatate tried to chase him. So, is it a mistake? That's only the manager that can do that. Again, he's obviously got his views with guys. He's got a free rein at the minute, so if he does make a mistake, you know he's going to alter it again, and he did against St Mirren. Then that's when the big guys came back again. And with the amount of games that we had 3 games in 7 days, so you've got to rotate your team. And we don't have a big squad, but we can rotate it, which is good to see again.
Hugh, thanks a million. Enjoy the weekend. Stay in touch. Thank you. Cheers, Hugh. 0808 17 17 700.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
Don't know why I said there. Pretty good. And the traffic and travel. We're not in downtown Miami. Not yet. For the World Cup. Any news today? Listen, the World Cup countdown, not at the moment. I see some trouble in Mexico, where, Mark, you were telling me, if Scotland go through from the original stages, then if we come second, we'd play in Guadalajara.
Yep. Let's just try and get through. First, Paul, one game at a time. Haiti, the opener. Really excited, but because we've got so much going on domestically, we're not really we'll be back into focus next month. Steve Clark will pick his squad for the 2 friendlies at the end of March, and then obviously the base has been picked in Charlotte, and then the action gets underway. 3 great games to look forward to.
Indeed. With the friendly, I see Dick Avocaz stood down at the moment, family issues, so we hope everything is okay.
Absolutely.
Because we would have seen him then in the coming weeks.
A shame.
In the friendly, it is, isn't it?
It really is,
His daughter.
So,
fingers crossed.
Yeah, indeed.
I wish him well. I like you, Dick. Nice guy.
Indeed. Wasn't he? He was,
what a career.
Yep.
What a career.
Straight as a die, wasn't he? He just told you what he thought.
He was brilliant. I'll forget he came rolling in 1998. We went in pre-season with Rangers that summer, I think, to Norway it was, and a couple of boys late for their breakfast or their lunch, as in the player. I think Amoruso, Big Lorenzo was one of them. Fined right away.
Was he?
Fined right away. The discipline that he brought in. Great 3 years there, and the amount of jobs. I remember the one where he kept Sunderland up in the Premier League.
That's right.
You know, Belgium national manager, Holland national manager. Some amount of jobs, but obviously family comes first.
Absolutely. So just looking here, a few calls coming in. Jack has been on, another Jack, a St Mirren fan. He is getting worried now, Darren. He's saying that St Mirren, the danger is, you know, it's just they don't know what's going to happen there. They just seem dispirited. They don't have the guile and that the resolute feeling that you had with St Mirren. I mean, top 6 3 years running. What do you feel?
Yeah, I the only thing I can point to is, and strange to say, is winning the cup.
Yep.
That has caused an issue for them, that they've had that high. It's the only logical thing I can think of, is they've had the high of winning it, and they've just not recovered from it. And been able to find that itch and that edge that St Mirren usually. St Mirren are, you associate Stephen Robinson's teams horrendous to play against. You never get an easy game against Stephen Robinson's team. You never get easy goals. You have to work for absolutely everything. And at the minute, that's not the case with them. And there must be a reason for that. And the only thing I can think of is they've won that League Cup, and it's just taken the edge off some players. And I don't mean the players are out celebrating still and they're not caring, or it happens when you win titles, and they're, especially when you win a title, usually you go away for 2-3 weeks on holiday and you celebrate it. They've had to do that mid-season. They've not had to do it before. It was a big thing. And I think they've lost their edge. I do think they will be okay. I do think they will be okay, because we know they have enough to be okay, but they're going to have to quickly start picking up points. Well,
good news for your old team, Mark. As you know, St Mirren have successfully appealed the red card shown to Richard King during the 5-0 defeat to Motherwell at the weekend. The defender is now available for selection for Saturday's game at Livingston.
Yeah, massive game. I mean, they're all massive now. You look at St Mirren, a horrible weekend for them, the 5-0 defeat, and then they see Kilmarnock picking up a point, the D picking up 3 great points at Pittodrie. I think despite Livingston deserving a lot of credit for Sunday's performance and result, they're gone. They're away, and it's about who finishes 11th. Right now, I think Kilmarnock could go above St Mirren. I can see St Mirren getting really dragged into it. But we talk about mentality, bottle after the split with the 5 games to go, who's going to become champions. It'll be the same down the bottom. Paul, I mean, Aberdeen and Dundee United, I think will be absolutely fine. I think Dundee, they're probably only going to need three wins from 11 games, or a couple of wins and a couple of draws. I think they'll be fine. But
what a win for them at the weekend, wasn't it?
It was a brilliant win to go to Pittodrie. Yeah, brilliant. To do that after on the back of the goal at Celtic Park. No doubt you'll be up in the radar. Our clubs look Graham as well, getting looked at. But I can see Kilmarnock overtaking St Mirren.
What about the red card? A few people have been on saying, guys, enjoyed the chat earlier on about the referees. The Liam Morrison, I know it was at the weekend there, it was a VAR red. There's been so many decisions, Mark, that when you look at it, you think, it was the Gogic, for example. To be fair, they changed it during the St Mirren game, and then it went back to yellow, didn't it, for Gogic? But everywhere, just about every game had something, a real flashpoint involving referees and VAR.
Was the Liam Morrison, am I right in saying, I have seen it, it's gone through, and it's nearly he's going away from goal, outside the box, and it's a clear foul. There's no doubt about that. But it's innocuous. He doesn't mean to actually make a challenge. So I think the ruling in the words would be, if you don't make a genuine attempt to play the ball, it'd be a red. But surely there's a grey area, because the boy's going away from goal. Sure. So I can understand why it's a penalty. It is a penalty, but how they came and deemed it a red card, I never know.
Mark, some was bonkers.
Yeah, it's just Paul, like I've saying again, I'll prefix by saying that you don't want to sound as if it's a pile-on on referees, but the standard of refereeing and the standard of VAR this season, particularly in the past couple of months, has been far, far from acceptable.
Rangers were 2 down at Livingston. The manager was asked, what did you say to the players, the changes you made?
Yeah, we spoke about some spaces, some positioning. Then it was clear to bring the next player around the box, in the box. We changed not so much, but some things we have to be more clear. And then you conceded again. A goal after a set play. It makes again harder to come back. But finally, we were always on front foot. We tried, and sometimes the feedback from the supporters, you feel how they see the game, and it was very positive. Even we are disappointed that we dropped 2 points today.
Indeed, and he spoke about the penalty claim. We heard him earlier. The referee not going to the screen. The game overall.
Yeah, finally, I think we're disappointed. We dropped 2 points, unnecessary. I think it was exactly what we knew before the game. They will have 2 or 3 moments. They look for set plays, and in this 2 or 3 moments, we missed the clarity. I think from the first minute on we were good in the game. Yeah, we had a big chance after our set play for the 1-0. But if you're then 2-0 down, it's tough. It's a tough place. But finally, we tried everything. I think it shows a big character from the group. Big praise, really praise from the supporters today. Outstanding. I think over 100 minutes they support us, and every minute it was great. Yeah, finally you scored then the 2-2, and then we can speak maybe about one crucial moment in the game. But I will look not for this excuse. We have 100 minutes to decide this earlier.
Yeah, it was Danny Rule after the game at the weekend. It was a vital point though, Darren, wasn't it? Because I think if Rangers away from home had lost to the bottom club, they would have been coming away. I mean, I know the Celtic result helped them, but my goodness, they did not expect to find it so tough at Livy.
No, and you just put it in saying they're playing against bottom of the league who've only accumulated 13 points. I think it's something like Livingston haven't won in over 20 games, is it? It's something quite a lot of games anyway.
Yeah.
So of course you're imagining Rangers will go there and win comfortably. We all know though this season the normal things aren't happening. Rangers aren't finding it easy just to win games. They've at times struggled. They've won games or struggled to perform at a really high level. I've spoken at length at Celtic doing it. Hearts are finding their way through games. Motherwell are the team that are looking at that. You're thinking they look like they can win games comfortably, but the rest they're just having to fight out for 90 minutes, and it's usually an odd goal in it.
Mark, it's not been the season of the strikers at the Old Firm, has it really? You know, Chermiti, we know the story, scored some big goals. We know that hat-trick the other week, scored in some of the big games, but he's gone quiet again. So Miovska came on the other day. What are you thinking of some of the strikers, let's say at Rangers? Nadiri, a bit of an impression since he came in?
Yeah, I mean, he's young, he's raw, he's obviously not near the finished article, but you know, you're not going to get that. But you know, certainly what Rangers have created now with bringing them in, they've got an option of going Nadiri and Chermiti up top and really saying to Celtic, okay, we're going to go with two through the middle. But if it's young Benjamin Arthur with Liam Scale, how are you going to go and handle that? So they've got an option of really mixing it up, get a bit of trust in that, or not. They might just go with just one number 9. But we said with the window poll last month that whoever comes out strongest in the number 9 department could become champions. And Chavan Charas, look decent in flashes, but between the two of them, Paul, they don't have an outstanding number 9. There's nobody really you can say, my God, he's a match winner. Yeah. He's a proper match winner. Get the ball in the box and it's a goal. They don't have that. So therefore, that's why I think it's so wide open. But I would make, I don't know what the odds are with the bookies yet, but I'd certainly make Rangers favourites to win the game on Sunday. I would have Rangers as favourites.
You're going for Rangers? You think they will win?
I don't know if they're going to win, but I would have them. We'll see.
Going in as favourites, right?
But certainly, in terms of the bookies, I would have Rangers as favourites to win the game.
Here's a different game just now. Jim in Netherlee's been on 08 08 17 17 700. My son James and I are en route to Dunfermline. Got a feeling the best the Jags will get is a point tonight. What do you guys think? So, what do we reckon? We spoke about it earlier. Dunfermline against Partick Thistle. What do we feel, Mark?
Yeah, Neil Lennon will be looking at thinking it doesn't have to win. It's not a must-win game, but certainly they can't avoid defeat. And for Thistle, they're now thinking, not forget about the playoffs. We want to go and be champions. We can do this in one go. So I think Partick Thistle would fancy their chances. Be tight. I think it could just be one goal in it, Paul, and probably I would fancy Partick Thistle.
What about you, Darren? What do you reckon?
I was just about to say, I think it'll be an odd goal. It'll be really tight. You can't not fancy Partick Thistle, just the way they've performed all through the season. But in saying that, I'm never really back against Neil Lennon's teams, because when he's kind of up against it and he feels under pressure, is probably when he's at his best.
He'll give you such stick. Is that what you mean?
No, I think he can inspire, if you want to call it that. Sure. So, I think it'll be a very, very tight game.
What about Queen's Park against the leaders? St Johnstone, Darren, what do you think?
You would have to imagine St Johnstone go there and win relatively comfortably.
Could there be an upset though? The Glasgow team doing a favour to the other Glasgow team?
Yeah, you never know. You know, Sean Crichton and Jim Duffy. Yeah, they're a really good job. Good win for them on Saturday. You know, they've managed to get themselves up there, and they'll be thinking, you know, they've got 12 games to go, a couple of games in hand over other teams. That, let's go and try. Not easy to get back-to-back wins, but let's go and do it. And if ever there's a night to do it, it could be tonight.
And Ayr United, of course, Scott Brown. Jamie Murphy will be here tomorrow night, along with Andy Walker, an ex-Ayr United player. Too many draws for them, Mark, isn't it? That's the problem. But they're still there in the playoff position. Yeah,
at the moment, you know, 7 wins out of 24. You would expect more. You've still got 12 games to go, Paul. 36 points to play for it. And you look at the results all season, they're all beating each other. And you look at Arbroath as well, you know, kind of probably part-time team, and look where they're sitting. They're doing superbly well.
And I see the Accies dropping down a division, taken to court by a lawyer's firm, Addershaw Goddard, who helped save them from liquidation in August. Unpaid fees claimed of £37,000. It's going from bad to worse for the Hamilton Accies, one of the oldest teams in the league. Mark, it's not looking good.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. You know, Darren McKinnon's doing a good job keeping it together. It was a shame that John Rankin felt he had to go, but under the circumstances, you totally understand his decision. But it's been a real slippery slope over the past couple of years. They've not followed various protocols that you need to do within the SPFL, and now there's action against them out with the footballing authorities. It's not looking good.
Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Craig's been on saying, Darren O'Dea, right, tell us about the visit to Brentford. You were down there for a couple of days.
Yeah, I was, yeah. No, it's something I think all coaches do. You don't naturally, when you're in work, get a lot of time. So when you're not, it's part of learning, if you want to see that. And Brentford are a club that are obviously run a little bit differently. They're a kind of unique club that have come through the leagues and now are doing exceptionally well in the Premier League. One of the reasons I wanted to go down was I've been around Celtic and a very kind of strong style of possession, if you want to call it that. So that style of play I've seen a lot of, and the managers that I've seen in terms of Brendan and Ange, who are exceptional and learned so much. But I want to see something completely different. Right. And yeah, it was fascinating. I got to real insight into all their meetings. Keith Andrews, obviously through my relationship with him, was brilliant to me. And then, so I got to see a bit of training, their meetings, the way they did things day to day. And it was a really good insight. But just for me personally, it was just more just to evolve and to keep learning while you're not in work. Because once you're in work, you don't get these opportunities.
Sure. Yeah, it must be so difficult to... Your head doesn't come up, does it? Because it's just game after game, especially in the Championship in England and all the miles that you have to traverse because you're all over the country. Did you meet up with Chris Burke?
Yes, I did. Yeah, well, I met up with him. He was working, so we crossed paths. It was great to see. First of all, it's great to see the action he's taken by going down there. It's a bit fair play to him, because I'm sure he could. Well, he was in work. He was at Kilmarnock, wasn't he?
That's right. Yeah,
Berkey's got a good reputation, and he could work up here, no problem. But he's thought, no, I want to go down, and fair play to him. And I see him doing well there. And Brentford are a club that will promote within one of the Neil McFarlane, who's I think he's the 19s Scotland manager. He's now in the first team. He was the 21s manager previously. He's now gone up into a first team coach's role. So Brentford are clearly, Keith Andrews has been promoted in their club that will promote from within. So he's in a brilliant club in terms of his learning, his development, but also for potential opportunity going forward.
Remarkable the money in the English game though, isn't it, Mark? And the way that Brentford have developed this community stadium, the money coming in, it's worlds apart from what we have in Scotland.
Yeah, but you look at what they've done in 10 years. I remember Matt Warburton and Davy Weir been there, and that's where Rangers recruited them from when we go out to see them. Played at Blackburn Rovers, and they weren't a fashionable club, obviously not the status that they've got now, but they played some really good football, and then of course that led to them getting the Rangers job in the summer of 2016, and then they've kicked. Thomas Franks was involved with Matt Warburton. I think it was part of his staff, and then again they promoted from within, and he really kicked them on. You know, they were really into the data model as well. You know, links with all that. I think connections to Midtjylland maybe as well. So you look at a very, very well run club. I have to be honest, when Keith Andrews went in and they lost Thomas Franks and lost a couple of big players during the summer and lost Ivan Toney as well.
Yeah.
Last year I thought they would go down. I really did thought they would go down, and yet they've been comfortably in the top half of the table.
Who's going down this season up here? I'll ask you more. And also we have the countdown to Stuttgart against Celtic, and also to the big game on Sunday. 5 sleeps to go. We're back next. North London derby. How did it compare? So Tottenham, the new stadium, I'll ask you in a moment. But what was it like? Tottenham against Arsenal. Did this feel as big as Rangers Celtic?
No, nowhere near. My first North London derby, Paul, first time at the new Spurs Stadium. Fantastic arena, great facilities, really modern, lovely. In terms of the atmosphere for a North London derby, and I know Spurs are a wee bit of a down, a wee bit flat, the new manager in temporary, Tudor, but in terms of comparing it to our old, the derby, no, absolutely
Listen,
no.
You were at Albion Rovers, so what about Clifton Hill versus the new stadium? It's
I had a great season at Albion.
Yeah.
We still finished bottom, but I had a great season.
Yeah.
No.
Is it another world?
Aye, so of course, but it was great.
Sorry, I just meant in general. I didn't
the
legend.
You read Pat Jennings is floating about,
course,
Ozzy Ardiles,
magic,
Gary Mabbutt, and well looked after, and Arsenal, important win for them to bounce back after dropping points to Wolves, just to make a statement that no, we have got the bottle, we have got the mentality, and excuse me, Mikel Arteta, they've set a standard this season, and Gyökeres has had his critics after his 60 million transfer, but he fair stepped up to the mark on Sunday afternoon there.
What did Mikel say? Mark, great to see you again. No,
hola. Listen, I remember when he was here.
Yeah,
Rangers went out to see him in his hometown of San Sebastian during one of the winter breaks. Spent a couple of days with him when he was at Rangers, made us feel very welcome at the tennis club in San Sebastian. As you know, Paul, beautiful part of the world out in his hometown. So so obviously followed his career. What a career he's had! Great managers, played under Davy Moyes and Arsene Wenger. Then Pep taking them in. His assistant. So I think Arsenal will win the title this season.
Yes, I was going to ask you that. Are they going to be title winners? What do you think?
Yeah. No, for me, Arsenal. I think they very hard team to beat, and they know how to get it over the line. I think this question mark over, do they have the bottle? I think they'll prove this season they do.
So is it a wee glass of cava as well? Drinking?
Well looked after, Paul. You can just imagine. Up to your standards, up to your high standards. You'd have loved it. It was great.
Maybe one day. So Mark has a brilliant job. He really has. Worked very hard at the Sunday Mail. Doesn't work quite so hard now. No, he does. I'm only kidding. And how was the Chris Boyd ladies' lunch?
Very good.
On Friday?
Chris's chat. Raised I think over £30,000 on Friday. A great turnout for him. Edward Reid hosted it. Edward's fantastic. Host Callum Beatty and all that all getting involved. So great. It was a great day for him.
Fantastic. And back to business now. So Rangers probably day off yesterday, back in today. Celtic fly out tomorrow to Stuttgart. Darren, what do you do if you're the manager? What kind of lineup do you think? I mean, Sinisalo, for example. I mean, I know there was criticism of Schmeichel, but he's going to change it for tomorrow, for Thursday night. What do you feel?
The reality is, you want to say, do whatever, just prioritise Sunday. And whatever that looks like, whether some players need to play minutes or they need a complete rest, just solely make decisions of what you need for Sunday. I don't usually like saying things like that, because you do want to be in these competitions and you do want to be competing. I think it's a step too far after the home leg, obviously with the score and the aggregate score, for them to actually go and overturn it. I don't think even the most avid Celtic fan are kind of thinking that. So you've got to prioritise Sunday, and I think listening to Martin O'Neill, I think he will.
Mark, what do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, for me, Paul, absolutely. Rest Callum McGregor, rest Nygren, rest Maeda, probably rest Scales, definitely rest Tierney. 5 or 6 of your players. I don't see the point in them making the journey. Never mind, even just be on the bench. Just be at home, rest, get your feet up, and focus on Sunday. Obviously, Austin Trusty can play because he's suspended. And Sunday, it might be a chance just to give Kasper Schmeichel a free week as well. Just give him a few days off, because you look at the Celtic team, Paul, that those kind of names I've mentioned, I don't think they've had a week off.
No.
Since mid-July. You know, when you look at between international football and European football, rearranged games because they get to a cup final, etc., etc. So it's an opportunity just to give 6 or 7 of your main guys a couple of days of well-earned rest.
Because the coefficient has plummeted anyway, hasn't it? You know, for everyone in Scotland, the coefficient's not good at all. Rangers, I don't know if they win it, can they get automatic qualification yet? It's possible.
Yeah, it depends if Olympiacos, I don't know if it's still up in the airport. It's a complicated one to follow, but first and foremost, Rangers just need to do their job. All they can do is try and win the league and then see if the rest falls into place.
Celtic would have to qualify, wouldn't they? Hearts would be the same for sure. And even Motherwell, we heard Hugh earlier on, hey, you never know. And you'd look, Arta, for example, do you think he'll play? I'm trying to think, who came in from Brentford. I'm trying to think who else they might.
I was trying to think.
He's maybe not in the squad. That's
so
right, sure.
Arojo would have got brought in, Kvanchara and Adamu maybe. The ones that they changed, they were allowed to change 3, wasn't it?
That's right.
You could maybe see maybe on Thursday night, possibly it could be Ralston at right back, Donovan and Trusty, and Sriracha, maybe your back 4. Maybe, I don't know. What
you can't have is an injury to a player. I mean, you can never say it's not going to happen, but what's the point of losing a Callum McGregor, for example, that you mentioned, or a Kieran Tierney, or would Hatate come into that category, or would you play him?
If it means giving Callum, Nygren, whoever it is, it's all about pick your team for Sunday and then work backwards from there. And I think that's what they will do. But yeah, although all those players will come into the equation, if Martin is sure that they're not going to start on Sunday, they'll come into the equation. The ones that are the pivotal players for Sunday, you've got to do whatever that looks like, whether it's complete rest, whether it's given 20 minutes, whatever it needs, Sunday's the priority.
Mark, so the team, I'm not asking you for the full team, but I wonder if there's any surprises, because he's hiding to nothing, isn't he? Celtic never want to lose a game or draw a game. They want to win, but
the tie's over. But you've got to be mindful. You know, the Celtic supporters travelling over there that have paid a lot of money. However, the tie is over. There's no getting away from that. So, you know, I think any Celtic support would understand that you prioritise Sunday, and like I say, that means leaving 5 or 6 of your key players behind at home for a couple of days rest. Then I think that's what you do.
What about the future of Marcelo Sriracha? See, they're saying that there's interest on him. He came over on loan from Boca Juniors, as you know. Do you like him, Darren?
Yeah, I really like him. I don't like saying this because I'm sure Celtic fans would keep hold of him. I don't see that happening.
Really?
Not because of the want to keep him, but Kieran Tierney is a left back that will be on a good salary at Celtic, certainly a first team salary. I don't think Celtic will be in the market to bring in, because I think he would cost probably what a first team regular would cost. So whether they'd go and have that type of strength and depth in that area, I don't know. I think every Celtic fan would love it if they did, because he certainly looked like a decent player.
Danilo was saying he's at Nijmegen, as you know, Mark. He's hoping to persuade the club to sign him permanently, and that would be great news for Rangers. Get him off the books.
And get if you can get
some cash,
some kind of transfer fee, and get him off the books. It's, you know, there's no doubt he was a quality player, but you know, various injuries just hampered him. His attendance record just wasn't good enough, and I think best for all concerned that he gets a permanent move somewhere else in the summer.
So the first couple of minutes, we've got a few calls about the referee for this weekend. John Beaton is the referee, assistant David McGeechy and Callum Spence, the VAR official Stephen McLean, and his assistant Kevin Clancy. They don't even mention the fourth official anymore, they really do. It just goes to, it's not there, to VAR. Mark, you hope that we get a game that people can enjoy, well, whoever wins enjoys, and then we're not bogged down in VAR controversy.
No, you want the referee to get it right. You want John Beaton to have as near to a perfect game as possible. As you say, Paul, you want to be talking. One thing I would say about recent Rangers Celtic games, the derby games over the past couple of seasons, I think if you look at it, the players' focus on football, the managers' focus on football, years gone by, it was always a kind of circus. There might have been one or two agendas, one or two wee personal battles going on the field that could spill over. But you look at it, I'm not saying it's easy for the referees, but most of the time now, it's been fairly straightforward. The League Cup semi-final, a couple of moments of controversy, obviously, but on the main, it's about playing football.
Different.
It's about playing football.
It's a massive difference.
Darren,
I think back to our time, like we would have had conversations about getting around the referee, and I remember Kevin Thompson's tackle on Robbie Keane. He's put it up on Twitter that many times that I've had to see it. But that was something we looked back on and thought we didn't get around the referee for that. So in the next game, and you're completely right, you're running battles with people all the time. That doesn't exist anymore. Certainly doesn't exist to that level. So I think the games are a lot easier to referee now than they would have been years ago.
We'll play that back on Monday when we're talking about fan controversy.
And also, Paul, an onus on the players to behave. No diving, no cheating. Don't make try and win the game. But there's an onus on the referee, on the players, to play their part as well.
Great note to finish it tonight. Thank you so much. Back tomorrow night at 5.